Well, I like to aim high, so winning Kona is a dream. Well, but I also have to be realistic, and winning Kona on my first attempt might not happen. But but I'm aiming for a top position, definitely.
That's Sara Svensk, and this is the Oxygen Addict Triathlon Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Oxygen Addict Triathlon Podcast. We're brought to you every week by our sponsors PrecisionHydration.com. Electrolytes in different strengths that match how you sweat. You can get 15% off your first order with the code OxygenAddict15. And we're also brought to you by TrrNutrition.com. Collagen supplements for triathletes who are serious about sport. Their Pro Advanced Collagen helps support your joints and bones and is used by Ironman champions Craig Alexander, Tim Don, and Sara Svensk. You can get 15% off with the code OxygenAddict15. All right, everybody, welcome to the show. I hope you're well today. Got a cracking interview for you today with Sara Svensk. She's the winner of Ironman Barcelona 2018. She pretty much arrived on the scene as a big name by finishing in 8:34. It was the fifth fastest female professional time of all time. There's only Chrissie Wellington, Daniela, Annie Haug and Lucy Charles Barkley have gone faster than that. So a storming performance from her. So managed to get her on the show and get a great interview. She's actually also well, she's not a full-time doctor anymore, but she achieved that when she was working as a doctor as well, working 3 days a week. So really impressive from her. I think she had the fastest run split of the day in the 70.3 World Championships in Nice in 2018 as well. So she's a super nice person. It's great to get an interview with her. So some great stuff coming up in today's show. We've got some news. We've got not some results really, but we're going to have some chat about some virtual stuff that's been going on. Coach's Couch. We've got little tips on some products for you. It's a great show. So let's crack on. First up, news and results are sponsored by Precision Hydration. You need to get yourself over to precisionhydration.com and take that online sweat test. That'll give you a good lead as to whether you're a very heavy or very salty sweater. I personally am a very salty sweater. I was out on the mountain bikes this weekend. You might remember me saying that we had an epic day planned and we didn't manage to get it done. The weather didn't play ball, but we still got a very solid 5 days in the saddle in, and it got pretty warm. And what I did was I mixed up 2 sachets of 1500 into 1 water bottle. So that was like all my electrolytes for the ride in 1 bottle. And then I just had pure water in the hydration bladder in my backpack as I was mountain biking. I always find it's a bit of a bugger to get those hydration backpacks clean if you've had any kind of sugary stuff inside them. I don't like the thought of any little beasties growing in my hydration pack. So I always just have water in the hydration pack for mountain biking. Mixed up all of the precision hydration in there. So I had basically 3 grams of sodium mixed into 1 bottle. And just true to form. It doesn't taste salty. You can just take a couple of slugs of that and then some water. And it kept me completely cramp free all the way through the ride. And I felt pretty good all the way through it. Notwithstanding the few terrifying moments, herring down at breakneck speed down some crazy slippery descents. I was riding with some youngsters who are much, much better on mountain bikes than me, who left me for dead on the way down, some of the guys that I coach. So it was great for me. It's great to get out with guys who are fitter and more talented than you and really keep you working and keep you young. So I really appreciated being taken out by them and being shouted at by them on the descents as to how to learn how to handle my mountain bike and get down the hills faster. So watch this space for details of my 2020 epic ride that might be happening this weekend. Who knows? But I hope you're managing to get out and managing to get some kind of adventures under your belt and getting out and seeing some of the world. I've got to say, I was pretty surprised. We finished our ride this weekend in the town of Hebden Bridge, and it's actually only about the second time I've properly left my house, I think, since lockdown began back in March. And I was amazed. It was just like lockdown was over in Hebden Bridge. There were thousands of people walking around, and it made me very, very uncomfortable, I've got to say, being around all those people. I was fine with just 2 or 3 mates out on the mountain bikes, but there was something in my head said, I don't like this at all, being around all those people. So I, for one, am not ready to go back to the real world of hundreds of thousands of people milling around yet. So let's see whether you are or not. It's a decision we've all got to make individually, I think, isn't it? So who knows what's going to be happening in the world of events in the real world as well. But all we can do is keep cracking on with our fitness, stay as fit as we can all the way through the summer. And if there's going to be some events for us later in the year, hopefully we will be in great shape for them as well. Right. So I've had an email, as I get every week, from the Pro Tri organization, and their PTO hub is a great source of pro triathlete news at the moment when there's no racing going on. There's some really good stuff on there this week. There's an interview you need to watch with Tim O'Donnell and Ben Hoffman being interviewed by Greg Bennett, who a lot of you will know is a long-time legend of the sport. He says to them, he quotes Tim DeBoom, who's a former two-time winner of Kona, saying that he thinks USA athletes basically aren't hungry and driven enough to win these days. And it seems like TOD just kind of laughs it off a little bit, but it looks like it puts Ben Hoffman's back up a little bit. And Ben says, I think Tim DeBoom's a bit irrelevant these days. He basically says that the times that he won with in Kona are quite soft. And if he'd been racing in this era, he wouldn't have been in the top 10. So I think it's well worth going along and watching the interview. It's interesting watching their different reactions to it, and I think it's great to see. Ben's obviously had a second at Kona, and he's had a couple of fourths. TOD's had a second in Kona as well. So they're right up there with performances that have been right on the podium in the very strongest of years. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the coming years. But I'm a really big fan of the PTO Hub. There's some really great content being put out. And if you got 5 or 6 minutes during the day and you're having a coffee, I quite often jump on there and watch one of their little interviews. They've often got athletes interviewing each other head to head. So get over there and check it out. I'll tell you what else I noticed as well over on Instagram. As a lot of you will know, it should have been Challenge Roth this weekend. And our mate Joe Skipper was looking forward to racing. He was looking forward to racing Camworth this weekend. There's some great smack talk being talked between the two of them, between Joe and Cam. Very entertaining, and I like it when there's a bit of personality in the sport. So if you don't follow the two of them over on Instagram, go over and check it out. It's well worth reading what the two of them are bouncing backwards and forwards. It's keeping me entertained anyway. All good stuff. Right, Coach's Couch this week. I want to give a shout out to a couple of our athletes who have done some pretty amazing performances during this last week. First up, a shout out to one of our athletes, Simon Maguire. He's done an FTP test, and the FTP's gone up in this time from 3:09 to 3:20, which is pretty impressive in itself. Getting your FTP up there into the 300s is really damn good going. But when Simon joined us back on the 24th of January, so 6 months ago, his FTP was 195 watts. So he's gone from 197. He's gone from 197 to 320 in a 6 month period. And he's dropped 15 kilos in weight in that time as well. And I just love it when there's a transformation in people, when they join and they're really getting into it. And it turns, mid 300s FTP is a serious age group leading engine, So I'm super excited to see how Simon does when he gets to race outside in the real world. So well done, mate. I wanted to give you a shout out for that. And also a shout out to Laura Ongaro. We've mentioned her on the show a couple of times. She was really ill with COVID just a couple of months ago, and she's properly bounced back. She was hospitalized twice, and she's bounced back this weekend in a virtual event. In the virtual event, she did a new FTP as part of the bike leg. She did an all-time 5K PB as part of the run leg to finish second overall. So just wanted to say, Laura, nice work, mate. It's brilliant to see you getting the rewards for the hard work that you've done over the past few years, and even more so to see you back bouncing in full health. Love it. Zwift ride on Tuesdays, 7:15 p.m. UK time. Come and train with us. It's the OxygenAddict Triathlon Power Hour. You'll find it listed in the official Zwift events. You don't have to have any special link. You can just log on to Zwift. Kind of join us 5 or 10 minutes before that. We'll just be listed in the event section up in the top right-hand corner. We do an hour of structured intervals every week. You'll be training with athletes from the team and also athletes from all over the world. We had something like 22 different countries represented in last week's ride, which is pretty amazing, really, for a little podcast started in somebody's bedroom all those years ago. So come along and train with us. These workouts are designed by me. They're the same workouts that our team athletes get every week. So you're going to be getting one of our key workouts every week, and you'll really get a sense of what training with us is like. And it's guaranteed to raise your FTP. It's going to make you a stronger, more powerful biker for your triathlon bike leg. So come and give it a go. We've also been doing team time trials on a Thursday night as well, which you don't have to be a member of our team to sign up for that. You can sign up for it separately with some of your mates. But if you haven't taken part in one of the Zwift team time trials, it is great fun. And it's a brilliant way to push yourself and be pushed by your teammates to the ragged limit in terms of doing a minute hard pulling on the front and then trying to recover while still staying in the draft. Really highly recommend that you give that a go with a bunch of mates. You just need 5 or more of your friends to go along and have a ride of that on Thursday nights. Well, actually, they've got races leaving every hour, so you can go and check those out yourselves. Really, really great fun. I got hammered by the boys in my team the last few weeks, and actually my legs came good this week. I felt like I was actually had some real riding legs again for the first time in, well, since as long as I can remember, if I'm perfectly honest. So I'm full of the glow of someone who feels like they've done hard work for a few months and is finally starting to see a little bit of payback for it as well, which is great. So yeah, good stuff. If you'd be interested in coming and having a test out the old Oxygen Addict coaching, you can book a call with me to have a chat to see whether or not you think you'd be a good fit. There's a link in the show notes. Click that. I'll take you through to my calendar and I'll arrange a time to talk to you where we can talk about how we coach and what your background is and basically the best way that we can help you out. I'm just going to give a little shout out at this point for our new sponsor, Terrar Pro Advanced Collagen. Their tagline is collagen supplements for triathletes who are serious about sport. And as I've mentioned at the head of the show, they sponsor Craig Alexander, they sponsor Tim Don, and you'll have heard the two of them talk about this product the last couple of interviews that I've done. I reached out to them and said, look, these guys are the real deal. They talk really highly about your product. I'd be really interested, I am an older guy. I am turning 47 in a couple of weeks' time. I'd be really interested in trying this because, as a lot of you know, I've had long-term Achilles problems. I'm starting to get a little bit sore and creaky when I get up in the mornings. And this is a supplement that's aimed at me. So I reached out and said I'd be really interested in chatting with you guys. And one thing led to another. They offered to sponsor the show for a run, which is really great of them. And they've sent me a batch of this stuff to try. So it's really cool. It comes in almost like in a shot glass. It's like a 50 milliliter shot that each one's individually, like a little plastic capsule. You take the top off and you just drink it first thing in the morning. The kind of sour cherry flavor. And each shot has got 10,000 milligrams of marine collagen and other key ingredients in there like glucosamine, turmeric, ginger, vitamin C, and copper that are all there to help support joint and bone health. The product was originally developed apparently for Andy Murray by a team of world-class sports professionals, including a leading sports medicine specialist called Dr. Eva Carneiro. So Andy Murray, obviously someone who's had a lot of problems with his ankles and ankle ligaments over the years. So I'm giving this a go. I'm 3 days into the trial and I'll report back and I'll report honestly on what I feel. If I start to feel better in the mornings, who knows? Could it be placebo effect? Of course it could. But also it could be the effect of taking this stuff. So if you're interested in giving this stuff a try, if you've got the money to spend and you want to give this product a go, they're offering a 15% off to our listeners with the code OxygenAddict15. You just need to go to trrnutrition.com and check it out. And I'll be reporting back along the way as we go along. I've got a 30-day trial sample here of this stuff. And they do say, to be fair to them, that it's going to take like 3 weeks or so to start to feel the differences. So I will report back. But Craig Alexander speaks highly of it. Tim Don speaks highly of it. And this week's interview of the week, Sara Svensk, talks highly of it as well. So with that, we will go to this week's interview of the week with Sara Svensk. Okay, Sara, welcome to the show. It's lovely to have you on and get a chance to chat to you. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm very glad to be on your show. Very happy.
Well, first up, where are you joining us from? Are you in Sweden at the moment?
Yeah, I'm in Sweden. in the second biggest town called Gothenburg.
Oh, right. Okay, good. So let's kick this right off then. You blazed onto sort of international triathlon consciousness last year, really. The first real big, massive result I saw from you was your win at Ironman Barcelona, where you went, I'm going to get this right, 8 hours 34. Is that right? 8:34 at Barcelona.
Yeah, I think so. 8:34. Yeah, yep.
And that's notable because I think it makes you the fourth or fifth fastest woman of all time over the Ironman distance, which is pretty amazing. So congratulations.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. It was an amazing day. Yeah.
And also, like, having done a little bit of research about you for this interview, you also finished 10th in Nice at the 70.3 World Championships. And I think you had the fastest run split that day as well.
Yeah.
So a good year then, in general.
Yeah, definitely. Very
well,
good year.
let's start off with Barcelona then. Did the result come as a surprise to you? I know you'd been quick before. You were really quick in Texas in 2018, weren't you? I think you were 5th there.
Yeah, that's true.
And you'd gone quick there. So was it a surprise to you, or it's never a surprise to the athlete really, but it's always nice when you go fast, isn't it?
Yeah. The time was a surprise. I knew I was very fit, so I was aiming for a win at that race, but I actually didn't have any clue about the time at the moment.
Really?
Yeah.
So did you not race with a watch on? You had no idea?
Yeah, I do have a watch, but it's always something that goes wrong with the watch, and I pause it or something like that. So I never know about the time when I'm racing.
Well, it was interesting. It's actually one of the races I watched live last year on the Ironman coverage, and I remember seeing you in the last couple of miles and thinking, honestly, I don't know who that is, but she looks incredibly fresh. That looks like it's going to be a ridiculously fast time. Was it just one of those days where everything went right for you and you just felt good?
Pretty much, yeah. Of course, I got a little bit tired at the end of the marathon distance, but I felt strong mostly the entire competition. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So is it the case then? When I was racing, I only ever had one Ironman where I actually felt strong all the way through the whole marathon. The other 8 or 9 of them, I felt horrible from, it's death from the halfway point of the marathon. Yeah. And is it the case for you as well that sometimes you just have magic legs on the marathon and you can just push and push and push?
Yeah, definitely. Yep. And I think it's, I love running. So I always want to get to the running part of the triathlon.
Okay.
So I'm very eager to start a run, and of course, most marathons the legs feel shitty, but I don't feel that pain as much as I feel it when I'm biking. So I actually think the run is easier most of the time than the bike part.
Oh, that's interesting. And where were you in the race when you came off the bike? Were you in the lead off the bike, or did you run into the lead?
I was in the lead. Yeah.
Okay. And so explain to us what was going through your head then when you were in the lead off the bike. Obviously that puts the win within reach, doesn't it? If you're already leading off the bike.
Well, I was just thinking about pacing myself as much as I can and don't get too eager and try to stay, stick to the plan, and this will be fine. Yeah.
It just was one of those incredible days where you didn't know how fast you were running, and you got to the finish, and you were like, "Oh, I'm now the 4th or 5th fastest person ever."
That was crazy. Yeah.
How long after the race was it that sunk in? I mean, like I said, in the research that I did, I think the only people who've been faster than you are, and get this for a list, Chrissie Wellington, Daniela Reef, Annie Haug, and I think Lucy Charles went a little bit faster at Roth. Yeah. So that puts you in pretty decent company there, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah. They are some of my role models. So, yeah.
Awesome. So you must have been absolutely gutted that what happened to Kona this year has happened, because Barcelona would have qualified you for Kona 2020, wouldn't it? And that's your qualifications done really early. What were your plans for Kona this year? Were you Were you thinking you might be in the mix?
Yeah, well, Kona, of course, was my biggest goal for this season, and I wanted to be top 10 at least. Always aiming higher, but you never know what's going to happen. The season is long, but my goal was definitely to be at my best in Kona. Yep.
Okay. Have you been to Kona before? Have you raced there before?
I've been there. I was qualified 2018, but unfortunately, 1 week before the race, I got a stress fracture. So
Oh, no.
I was there, and I actually did a swim because I didn't know about. I was in pain, but I didn't know I had a stress fracture. So I did a swim, but then I couldn't run through transition, and I just took my bike out, tried a little bit, but it didn't work. So I had to quit that race. Yeah.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. Where was the stress fracture?
In the SI joint, in the sacrum.
Okay.
Actually, the same as John Frodeno and Sanders.
Okay.
Yep.
And how was that caused? Do you know?
I think it was a mix between everything, a lot of training, maybe bad nutrition at the moment, and workload, stress load, shoes, etc. I don't know.
Yeah. So it wasn't like an injury one where it had been caused by that. It was genuine like stress and overuse that caused it.
Yeah,
do you think?
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that brings us kind of neatly round to talking about your slightly unusual role in the pro field, because, you know, talking about the stress that you're under and workload, you weren't at the time a full-time athlete, were you? You're also a medical doctor working in a hospital. So talk to us a little bit about how you managed to balance the training with the workload.
Yep. Well, I actually started out with triathlon when I was in med school. And then when I got my medical degree, I went to work. The first years I worked almost 50%. That was a little bit too much. You have time to train. You can train a lot, but you didn't have time to recover. And now I'm only working 40% more or less, but then I'm away at training camps, etc. But it is 2 days per week at the hospital, and I think it works out fine. I like working as a medical doctor, so I try to see it like recovery when I'm there. I have to use my brain in another way than I'm doing when I'm training, and also I can train in the morning. I can train after the work, and I think for now it's working for me. Yep.
Nice. It reminds me a little bit of Lucy Gossage, who I'm sure you know, the British pro. She's a doctor as well, and she said the same thing. She said she found it helped her switch off mentally from triathlon to go and do something completely different during the daytimes.
And you get a little bit of perspective because you're very focused on yourself when you're training, and your body and how you feel, and nutrition and injuries and stuff like that. And when you work as a doctor, you meet people who's almost dying, and they are not complaining about anything. So you get some wider perspective.
Yeah, we do tend to be a slightly self-obsessed bunch, triathletes.
Exactly.
Is that something that you consciously take into training and racing with you, like experiences you've had in the hospital? Does it make you sort of think in your head, well, you know, I've just dealt with this person who's really sick, so I've got nothing to complain about in the training?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So listen, tell us a little bit about your 70.3 World Champs in Nice this year.
That was actually my main goal the last year, because I had my injury from Kona, and I wanted to just get back to racing and starting with half and just having a little bit of fun. And I really like racing 70.3. So I decided that Nice would be my biggest goal for the season. I went down there pretty early because I'm so bad at downhill parts, so I needed to be there to practice. But I'm still not good at it, and I wasn't good at the course. And when race day came, I felt very well. I knew I was very fit, but then I messed up my swim, and all the mental things that are coming when you're messing up the swim, and you are not in the position where you want to be. And this was one of those days. Actually, it wasn't my day at all. So the legs felt heavy on the bike, and I wasn't fast on the downhill part. But I just tried to focus on, try to relax and stay happy because I was racing the world champs. I should enjoy it. So when I got off the bike and started running, I just decided I go as hard as I can, and we will see where it will take me. Yeah, just try to enjoy being at the World Championship. Yeah.
And I think you ran a 1:17 something, didn't you, over the half marathon, which is scorching fast for the fastest run of the day, and it looked like it was really hot in Nice as well.
Yeah, it was a flat and fast course, but it was really hot. Yep.
And do you tend to go well in the heat? Is it something that seems to suit you?
Yeah, I think I've learned. My body has learned how to deal with the heat. Yep.
Yeah, it was interesting. It seems like it was a unique and difficult choice to race the World Championships in Nice with the course that they picked. I interviewed Holly Lawrence about 4 or 5 months ago, and she said exactly the same thing about the bike course. It was almost the downhill that decided the race rather than the uphill, because the really good bike handlers just seemed to zoom away from her on the downhill.
Yeah, exactly. Is
that your experience as well?
Yeah, I was pretty much alone the entire but I knew they were better than me, and when you look at the times, they were so much faster on the downhill part. So yeah.
Did you come into triathlon from a running background? Is that your original sport?
Actually not. I started out with horseback riding, so I've been actually spending a lot of time in the stable for my entire life. And one way to get some exercise into my daily basis was to run back and forth to the stable. So I think I lay a pretty solid ground, but I didn't do any competition running or anything like that.
Right, okay. And when did you start competing then? How old were you when you did your first either running or cycling or triathlon events?
My first running event must have been when I was in my 20s or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
So you really had no experience of racing at all until you were at university?
No. None at all. I was just training for fun.
Okay.
Actually. Yeah.
And so what was the first indicator that you're quite good at this then?
Well, I started to run a little bit with a run group, and I realized that I actually could keep up with these girls and guys, and I thought that I might be pretty good at running. So from there I started to train a little bit more focused, and I did some running competitions. And of course, when you're a rookie runner, you get injured because you run too much. So when I got injured, I bought a bike just to stay outside and get my cardio. And from there, I tried a little small triathlon race in my hometown, and I really liked it. Yeah. And from there on, just went slowly but surely.
And what was your first taste of doing sort of middle or long distance racing then? How old were you then, and how long had you been doing triathlon?
I think it was must have been like 20. It was 2014, my first 70.3. So 25. I was 25. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then pretty quickly, and I haven't got this written down, but in the notes, did you become Swedish champion that year or the year after?
The year after, 2015. Yep.
Wow. So rapid progression in terms of doing well at middle distance racing for sure.
Yeah. And a lot have to do with the material as well. My first 70.3, I had this old bike, road bike with clip on and stuff like that. Yeah.
So after that one, you decided to make the upgrade and really take it seriously, did you?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Who were some of the athletes that you look up to in triathlon?
When I started out, of course, it was Lisa Norden and Åsa Lundström, the Swedish stars. And then I'm very impressed by Lucy Charles, of course. Yep.
And have you had a chance to meet any of them?
No, I haven't. Yeah, Lisa Norden and Åsa Lundström, of course, but not Lucy Charles.
You've never met Lucy, have you not?
No, I've seen her. Yeah.
Well, I wonder. I mean, it'd be interesting for you to get to race against someone like Lucy head to head, because on paper you're extremely well matched, but in different ways. You know, your biking are probably similar abilities. Her swimming's a little bit stronger. Your runs have been amazing at the Ironman distance, so it might make for a really interesting race between you two.
Yeah, it would be really fun. Yeah.
And what were your plans for racing this year before, obviously, the whole coronavirus thing?
My plan was to race Frankfurt
Right.
and Kona, and then some 70.3 in between, and the Challenge Championship, Samorin.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how has the situation been over in Sweden with coronavirus? How has it affected your sort of like, how's it affected society, but also how's it affected triathlons? Can you guys do any events over there at all?
Yeah, Sweden. Well, I think everybody's noticed that Sweden has chosen a different approach, and the society has been not in lockdown, but we have some regulations. I have been able to swim and go to the gym as normal. We're not allowed to be more than 50 people in an event. So there have been some small running events, but no triathlons.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's interesting you say you've taken a sort of slightly different route. Obviously, Britain took a slightly different route as well, but in a different way. What's the general feeling in Sweden around? I mean, obviously, if gyms are open and you can still exercise, does it feel as though life is very different to how it ever was?
Yeah, and sometimes you forget about it, but it is different. Everybody is keeping a distance and washing their hands twice, and of course it has affected the restaurants and shops and stuff like that. They are pretty much empty now. When the summer gets here, people get a little bit more relaxed, so some people have forgotten about the regulations.
Okay.
So, yeah,
all right.
We will see how it ends up.
Are pools still open as well as gyms?
Yep.
They are, right, okay.
They are. They have been the entire time, which has been pretty amazing for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I think it's pretty much the only place in Europe where that's the case, isn't it? And I remember talking to Gustav Iden in Norway, and he was saying the pools were closed there, and he was swimming in a neighbour's backyard in one of those tiny little pools with a tether tied to him.
Yeah, I think Sweden is the only country with the pools open. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Okay. Do you think races will happen again this season? Have you got any plans to race this season?
Well, I really hope it will happen. And if so, my plan is to race Italy in late September, I think it is. But well, I'm trying not to be too focused on the autumn races, because we never know what's going to happen. I really want it to happen, but I also it must be safe for people to travel, and safe for the organization.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you find it frustrating to not be able to race?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
That's why we train. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about training then. What would a standard week of training look like for you? How often would you swim, bike, and run, and what would the distances be?
Oh, I think this is always a hard question. My weeks are pretty different from each other. but I usually have Monday as an easy day. Some recover bike, easy swim, strength work, get a massage and stuff like that. And then Tuesday I work. So usually I swim in the morning and then I have a hard bike or hard run in the afternoon. Wednesday, long bike, long swim, or very hard bike or something like that. And then Thursday I work again, so usually swim in the morning and run in the afternoon. And then the weekend are for longer runs and rides. And I swim. Swim is my weakest discipline, so I have been swimming in a lot lately. Yeah.
Okay.
Trying
to catch Lucy Charles in your head.
Exactly. In my head. Yeah.
How many kilometers a week will you be putting in the pool?
In the pool, 30 plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
For me, it's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for anyone, that's a lot. That's 120 kilometers. 120. Is that right? 120 kilometers a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Wow. So 1.5 million meters a year. That's some impressive swimming. You can't think of it like that because you go mental.
Yep, a lot of time in the water.
A friend of mine years ago, he did some maths and he reckoned once he'd got himself down to about 55-minute Ironman swim, he reckoned that for every minute he took off that swim, it was 1 million meters in the pool to do it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a lot of swimming over a lot of years to
get the small
to get the minutes off
time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What races are there in the world that you haven't raced that you would like to do?
I would love to race Cozumel in Mexico.
Yeah.
And of course Challenge Roth. And Kona. Well, I haven't raced Kona yet, so yeah.
What is it about Cozumel and Roth that attracts you so much?
Cozumel, I think it's I like the heat, and I heard very good things about the race, and it seems like a race in paradise almost.
Yeah,
so it would be nice to try it out, and maybe have some vacation afterwards.
It does look like a really good place to go and race, and then have 2 weeks of relaxing and drinking margaritas in the sun, doesn't it?
Yep. Sounds perfect. And Challenge Roth, it's one of the biggest races, and I really appreciate to race German races actually. So yeah.
Yeah, that I've had 2 entries for that and never been able to race for it, but it does look like the one race where the crowds on the hills, and it looks like an amazing experience, doesn't it? Especially if you're in the pro field and you've got the motorbikes and you've got the press cars and stuff around you as well. It looks like essentially being in the Tour de France for triathletes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hey, well, talking of the Tour de France, it reminds me that they've got the Zwift thing going on this coming weekend. Have you done any riding on Zwift or any racing on Zwift during lockdown?
No, actually, I haven't. I haven't tried Zwift a single time. No.
Oh, you've got to try it.
Yeah, everybody keeps telling me.
You have to come and ride it. Mind you, if it's nice weather where you are and you can get outdoors, it makes sense to be out in the summertime, doesn't it?
Yeah. But I like staying on the trainer as well, so I think I would like Zwift, but just haven't tried it yet.
Come on, get on it. Come and ride with us. We have a workout every Tuesday evening. You can come and train with us.
Yeah, I can try.
Well, listen, let's talk a little bit about kit and sponsors and things like that, because we always like to be kit geeks. So first up, let's talk bikes. Who do you ride? What kit are you on? And let's talk that.
Well, I ride the Speed Concept from Trek. Nice. And have been riding it since I started out as a professional triathlete. Yep.
Okay.
It was my dream bike when I started out, so I'm really happy that I have Trek as a support.
That's a nice situation to be in, where you get sponsored by your dream manufacturer, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
And what race wheels do you go with over the full
Uh,
distance?
for now, I have the Bontrager Triple X 6, and I have a pair of 4 as well, and a zip disc wheel.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
So you tend to go with the disc and either a 6 or a 4 up front, do you?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. And then what about other sponsors?
Well, I recently signed with a nutrition sponsor called Terrar.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
We were talking with we've had both Crowe and Tim Dunn on recently, who are working with them as well. So tell us a little bit about that then.
yeah, it's a British company, and they provide us with protein powder and what they call Pro Advanced Collagen. And I started out with just trying some of their products, and I really noticed some positive improvements. So when they wanted to have me on their team, I got very proud, because they are a team of health experts, and of course, Crowe and Tim Don, and so I'm very glad to have signed with that company.
So tell us about the collagen a little bit then, because I'm getting a little bit older now. I don't mind admitting, Sarah. It's my birthday coming up in a week or so, and I'm much closer to 50 than 40 these days. So I was thinking in the shower this morning ahead of the interview, I was thinking, oh, the collagen thing's an interesting. Perhaps I should be looking into trying this as well. What differences have you noticed and felt since using it then? Because I've never tried it at all.
No, well, I've noticed some positive effects, like bouncing back to train a little bit easier, and especially on the hard days, it feels like the next day I can do the same session, but feeling a little bit more recovered is the wrong word, but the body feels like it's responding well after I've been
Okay.
taking collagen for a couple of months now. You don't. It's not a miracle pill, so you don't notice any effects after just a week. You need to have it on your daily basis for a couple of months to notice any effects. And for mine, it was one of the biggest things was that I haven't noticed any side effects,
Okay.
which could be the problem for some supplements sometimes. Yeah. And I believe it supports the healthy functions of your bones and joints. So especially when you get elderly, I think it's important to think about your nutrition and getting it all dialed in.
Yeah, especially when you're getting elderly. Yeah, I'm going to have to start remembering that, aren't I? I said something similar to Tim, and he was like, I'm not getting old. I'm only 42. And I was like, oh, sorry, dude. I didn't mean it like that. And are you with Trimtex as well for your race kit? I know the Norwegian dudes are with them as well, and your Instagram's got some really cool looking tri-suits and stuff on there.
Yeah. Also new for this season. Norwegian brand, like their products a lot. The race suit it's amazing. Yep.
Cool.
And also feels good to be in the company of Blumenfeld and Eden.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
All right. So last question then. Where would you like to get to let's say, if Kona happens either in February or in October of next year? When you go to bed at night and you're about to go to sleep and you're dreaming about the dream results, where do you see that race going for you?
Well, I like to aim high, so winning Kona is a dream. Well, but I also have to be realistic, and winning Kona on my first attempt might not happen. but I'm aiming for a top position, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you've got the ability to run well in the heat, which seems to be the first prerequisite, being able to run well in the heat off a hard bike as well. So you've definitely got that going for you. Who are the people who are also in the mix that you're racing when you imagine the race, and how does it play out?
Well, we have Lucy Charles in the lead.
Yeah.
Of course. Yep. And Daniela Riff will probably catch her on the bike, or maybe not. Maybe she will catch her a little bit later. And the amazing runners, Anne Haug, for example, and I think Carfrey has a lot of more to give as well. So, and then there are some new upcomers. New, but we have Laura Phillips. She did amazingly last year. And, yeah.
So that's the battle along the Queen K then. You, Lucy, Daniela, and Haug.
I would really like that battle.
Awesome. Well, let's hope firstly that the race happens and that you all get to race each other. That's the first thing. But listen, it's been really nice to chat to you. It's been a really interesting interview, and you seem like a really down to earth and grounded person. So we wish you all the luck in the world. Is there anyone else you want to say thank you to before we wrap the interview up, in terms of coaching and parents and help and things like that?
Yep, of course I want to thank my coach, Frank Jakobsen. I have been with him for 3 years now, and he's my rock. And then my parents and my boyfriend, who keeps believing in me and supporting me.
Nice. All right, well, listen, thanks very much for your time. Best of luck with the training, and I hope we can catch up again with you soon.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, everyone, I hope that you enjoyed that interview. I think Sarah's a very interesting character, actually. She's obviously got a huge amount of natural talent. She's only been in the sport for a couple of years, but to go as quick as she did at Barcelona, that 8:34 was a very legit sort of out on her own performance. Running 1:17 at the 70.3 World Championships in Nice. Again, very, very quick. She was 30 odd seconds clear of the next fastest run of the day. And in the heat as well. So that bodes extremely well. If she stays healthy for Kona, she could be a real, she could be one of those under the radar ones to watch kind of performers. So it's all about getting that swim stronger for her. Whether she can get that swim done in the no wetsuit swim out in Kona, who knows? But yeah, very interesting. So check her out. She's over on Instagram and she's got some interesting stuff going on. All right, guys. So here's some discount deals and codes for you to wrap this up from our sponsors, Precision Hydration. Use the code OxygenAddict15 for 15% off your first electrolyte order. At trrnutrition.com, you can get 15% off your first order with the code OxygenAddict15 off their Pro Advanced Collagen. If you're looking for triathlon coaching, we'd love to chat to you over at teamoxygenaddict.com. There's a link in the show notes. You can schedule a call with me and have a chat, and we can see about how we can help you out. As I've said earlier, I think we've got one of the best all-around triathlon coaching packages for age group athletes out there. And remember, there's links in the show notes for all of these sponsors, so you don't have to remember them. So until next week, everyone, have a great, safe training and racing week. I'm Coach Rob Wilby, and you've been listening to the Oxygen Addict Triathlon Podcast. See ya!